The Mummy Returns is the sequel to the hit 1999 film and takes place. Excuse me. Oh, this is going to be a rough start. It takes place just under 10 years since the last film, and this time Rick O'Connell and his new wife Evelyn have an 8-year-old son. Well, worshippers of Imhotep have decided to resurrect him again in order to. Actually, it's not really explained why. It's just this whole convoluted thing about we want him to take over the world. You know, that kind of stupid blanket statement. But what they want him to do, they want him to kill an ancient warrior who was frozen in time called the Scorpion King. And, like I said, you know, stupid fucking blanket statement. And again, it's not really explained why this needs to happen or why they even want it. The group, it doesn't make any sense. And somehow Rick, Evelyn, their son, and quite a few recurring characters from the first movie just get caught in the whole scheme. And as you can see already from the basic synopsis, this movie's a mess. Brendan Fraser is still good, though not as good as he was in the original. Rachel Weisz is always good in pretty much anything that she's in. Arnold Vosloo is still great as Imhotep, and they actually gave him enough time to actually act instead of being a mostly CGI character most of the time. They mostly show him in his human form. There's one thing I need to point out about Rachel Weisz's Evelyn. She is revealed to be the reincarnation of the daughter of Seti the First, the pharaoh that Imhotep worked for, basically. And all this does is give the character a reason to be a great fighter in the movie. That's really it. And it's also weird because in the original movie, Imhotep looked at Evelyn and thought, "Oh my god, you look like Anaxunamun." Or, you know, his girlfriend. He actually thought that she was the resurrected or reincarnated version of Anaxunamun. Which is weird because, taking that into consideration, wouldn't Imhotep know who she really is? So then why would he think this? It's because it's clear that he knows who her previous self is. So, hooray for continuity errors. And you know what the great thing is? You guys haven't even seen anything yet. Wait until I come out with my review on the third Mummy movie. That's gonna be fun. Now let's get into the bad performances, because there's a couple in here. First off, the kid who plays Alex O'Connell himself, Rick and Evelyn's son, is very dull. The best way I can it's really the best way to describe his acting. And I don't want to say this because I'm pretty sure a lot of people have already said it, but compare his acting to Jake Lloyd in The Phantom Menace. And then they also decided to add in the real reincarnated version of Imhotep's girlfriend, Anaxunamun, who is played by, let me check, Patricia Velasquez. I'm not really good with foreign names. Who gives, without a doubt, the worst performance in the entire movie. She has the exact same facial expression going throughout the film, and whenever she's trying to portray emotion that her character is feeling through the acting, it really feels forced, like she's not able to actually convey emotion even outside of acting. Now for the story, it's very convoluted. Just like what I mentioned earlier, they don't explain why things are the way they are, nor do they explain why the characters want the things that they want. Especially with the whole thing about Imhotep being resurrected so that he can kill the Scorpion King. I mean, why? And again, blanket statement. That's just fucking lazy storytelling. There's even a lot of rehashed concepts from the first movie. Like, instead of sand wall with Imhotep's face on it, they turn it into a water wall. Which is weird because the powers are supposed to be desert and Egypt based. You know, the whole plagues of Egypt thing that they specifically said in the first movie. And yet he's doing this shit with water. And also, while I'm on the subject, they show Imhotep using telekinesis. Why? I mean, the filmmakers were obviously adding shit, so, you know, not caring about continuity again. Now let's get into the special effects. This is my favorite thing to talk about when talking about this movie. The CGI in this film is fucking horrendous and ghastly. I'm pretty sure the first one had better effects than The Mummy Returns, mainly because the effects were dated. But that can happen with any film, and it's really a shame when that happens, but it does happen due to the fact that that special effects technology is always improving day to day, and so whenever something becomes dated, that's something that really can't be helped. But in the sequel, the effects are just poorly rendered, like they were made in a day and just rushed out the door without final checks. This was bad CGI for 2001 standards. And let's not pass up talking a bit on the whole CGI rendered Scorpion King. Yes, this is exactly what I want. I want to watch Brendan Fraser and Arnold Vosloo fight against a giant Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson scorpion monster lookalike that looks like it was made for a video game that came out like 8 years ago or so. Despite all that I've said about the movie, it can still be a fun time. It still has that action-adventure feel of the first, though it really has lost the horror elements to it, which I actually did like in the first movie. And some of the fight sequences aren't too bad, and the film actually does have a larger scope because, I mean, you mostly stayed in just a couple of the same places in the first movie. In this one, it actually feels like you're going from, one place to another, not just in Egypt, but even in London. But this is still a bad movie, and I actually hated rewatching it. I remember growing up enjoying it mainly because, it was a good popcorn movie to me. But now I look at it and I kind of wish that I didn't rewatch it. I wish that I remembered enough about it to review it just based off of that, because then that way I could have kept my original opinion, just thinking that it was a nice, fun movie that I really had no interest in watching again and again. And maybe I wouldn't have felt so disappointed that I watch this to make a review. I am going to give The Mummy Returns 2 reels. Well, that'll do it for me today. Please subscribe if you haven't already for more reviews and content, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and farewell until the next video. Bye, guys.